Alright, today we're going to be talking about taking specifications from AutoCAD, putting them into Microsoft Word, using a multi-level list to format them properly to make them like uniform, and then getting them back into AutoCAD. I've got the final product right here on the left. I've got what it originally looked like here on the right, and you can tell that it's got, there's part one, the big huge space there, and then there's part one and no big huge space right there. So small minor things like that is what I'm kind of looking to correct. There's also gaps in spacing between each part right here. So my company has very specific numbering. Why they do that I don't know, but that's what we're going to be following. If your company has something different, great, just modify this. Alright, so I'm going to close that. I've got a fresh Word document up. And what I've done is I've erased all the styles out of my Word. I've erased as many of these as I can for the most part so that I can start from scratch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to define new styles for each of the levels of the multi-level list. And how I do that is I'll make them numerically so that they show up at the very top of my styles and it's easy to find them. Alright, and paragraph is fine, normal is fine. I do want all of these to be Arial narrow. Alright, and what I'm going to do next is format paragraph. This one is going to be a level 1. All of the others are going to be body text, but this particular one, since it's at the very top, is going to be level 1. I want all of these to be zeros. I want this to be none. This will be 0 there and single. Alright, and these will be the same for all of them. Once you get everything formatted the way you want, you can come back and change this as needed. But for now, just put everything to zeros. That makes it easier. Alright, so there it is. Section 1 sheet specs. Alright, I'm going to create 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't want this based on anything else. I want it normal. Body text, 0, single. Alright, now that I've got all 6 of those lined out, this is supposed to be for end of section, and we'll get there when we get there. So the next thing I want to do is go define my multi-level list. So what that is that's right there. So you've got the numbering, the bullets, numbering, and then multi-level list. That's the one that we're going to need. So I'm going to change this to normal, because that defines this starting thing as a normal style, and that's what I want. So I'm going to create a new multi-level list, and then I'm going to match sections 1 to 5 here, right there. I'm going to put that more so I can see that. Okay, so 1, I want is 1. That's 1, 2, 3. Now that I've got those, now I'm going to go back and make this look correctly. So in my specs, I don't have anything for the section right here. There's no, 1 or 2 or anything in front of it, so I don't want anything there. So that's where I'm going to put none. Make sure that's gone, and I want these at aligned all the way to the left, which is that, and then the text indent also should start all the way to the left. And I don't want a tab character behind this. That we'll get into on the next ones. Alright, so level 2 should be part and then the pound and then a number, right? So we want numbers. And come to the beginning, write part, space, and then 1. Alright, on these I want it all the way to the left, and I want the text to actually start at 3/4 of an inch. And what that means is the text is, see, there's no big huge gap right here, but there was up there. This is what I'm defining. I want this text here to start at 3/4 of an inch. So that's what I'm defining right there. Tab character, yes. So part 3. So this is going to be 1.1, 1.2, so on and so forth. So what I want is go to the home, and I want this to increase 1.1. So that left-hand character is the number from level 2. The right-hand character is the sequence in this particular one. And I want this to be at 0 and 0.5. Alright, 4. 4 is going to be alphabetical. And get rid of those. So one thing I did also want to point out is you have to put a period at the end of this A. Put the period right there, it will save you a lot of heartache trying to figure out why stuff is not coming in properly. I want this at 0.25 and 0.75. And then 5 is going to be just a numerical value there. And you also need the period here. I want my 1 at 0.5 and 0.95. Those are all connected to 1, yep, 0.5. Alright, so make sure that you link level 2 styles for each one. Make sure that you have the period at the end of any alphabetical and numerical, just straight up. That way AutoCAD will recognize that, hey, this is supposed to be a list. This is supposed to be auto numbering. Alright, so I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so now I need to go get the text out of my AutoCAD. Alright, so what you do is in here, there are several individual multi-line text pieces. Alright, so copy each one, stack them all into a single Word notepad. What this does is it converts all the text to .txt format. All that is ASCII characters. It gets rid of all the additional formatting, all the additional stuff, the baggage from AutoCAD, from Word, whatever else. If you want just the text with no additional things, put it in a notepad and then copy and paste it from there. So I've got all my sections in here, so I'm going to do a control copy and then paste it into here. Alright, it is. So as you can see, it all came in as text. This is just text in this. Okay. Alright. Now, since I have all of these spare lines from the AutoCAD leftovers, I want to go through and delete those. There's no real easy way to do this other than right now I'm just using an arrow key and delete key. There may be some other way out there for a shorter version of this. Usually takes me not too long manually. So now those are all deleted. So now the next thing I want to do is remove all of my double space, triple space, stuff like this right here. And that's going to really mess with the formatting. So the easiest way to do that is go to replace right there. You're going to do space, space, and then replace with just a single space. Replace all, and there's 67 replacements. You're going to keep doing this until it says that they have made 0 replacements. And it'll take a couple times. Alright, 0 replacements. So it's gotten all of them there. Alright, so now I'm going to take all of this text, Control A, I'm going to take all of it and put it on level 4. So the reason I'm putting it on level 4 is because most of my AutoCAD specs are on level 4. It's this ABCD level right here. So that means I have to move less rows to get it to like the 2.2 or the 1. That's why I put it on level 4, just because less stuff to do. Next, I'm going to move the parts that need to be where they are. So since I have all of this on a multi-level list, and I can tell that because when I go to highlight it, this stuff on the left doesn't highlight, it's because it's part of the list. So all I have to do now is use these indent tabs, you know, increase indent, decrease indent, stuff like that, to get them where they should be. So there's two ways you can do that. You use tab, the button's up here, or you can do, in this case, shift tab, brings it over to the left, just like that. Okay, so you sit here and do this manually for each row, one by one, or you can do a you can do a find. And what I mean by that, is, so we know that all of them have something like section, right? So I can do section up here. I guess we're all right. Alright, so it's 12 results. Alright, so let's start here. So that one's already gotten, that's not applicable, end of section. So I can go hit it like that. Section. And as you can see on the left hand side, it is creating headers as I go, because this is level 1, and that's all of them. Alright, so the next part would be like part 1, for instance. So you essentially do this for part 1, part 2, and part 3. Very simple and easy. I'm going to do that right now. If there is an easier way to do this, please let me know in the comments if you come up with something. So the same goes for the 1.1s and the 1.2s. So I've actually found that at this point it's easier to sit here and look at the letters. So you've got J right here, you've got J right there, and you've got J right there, for instance. So you can quickly scroll through, like there's a 2.3, for instance. At this point, if you put the cursor on the left hand side of everything, hit Shift Tab, it'll actually pull it over. Whenever you're doing the find or the search over here, it doesn't quite work as well when you try to do that, but it can occasionally. And like I said, I'm just quickly skimming through the letters over here to make sure whenever I see them go off, that tells me I've got something that recently changed. And there we go. I'm not too worried about these right now. I did not delete these as extras because I normally need a space between the last line of this end of section and also between end of section and the next section. So I'll show you, that's why this header is there for now, that style. Okay, so that looks good. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and fix our end of sections. So I come over here, highlight it, and change that to end of section. Alright, and I can do this easier now that I've got the headers. So I know if one's beginning, one's ending. Like that. End of section. Alright, so that's all the end of sections. Alright, so the next thing you need to do is go through and clean it up. So there's a couple ways to do it. You can do it like this, where you highlight individual ones, and very similar to how you were, doing the indents. That's one of the ways to do it. Another way would be to find and replace. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to do replace. So I want to copy this, including the tab. Control copy, paste. And I need to get rid of that second one. I don't know why it does that. And I don't want anything here, so I'm going to hit backspace and delete a couple times. Find next. So I want to replace that one, that one, that one, and I think I'll do 3. I think it's 4 here. That's 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this one somewhere. That's the parts, so we'll do 1.1 distance. So you can do this, or you can just do it manually. kind of like what I was showing you. When you have a very large volume of these, sometimes it's better to do like this. Okay, so at that point, you can also do that with, you know, the A's, the B's, but I like to go through a little bit slower on these to make sure that I've actually got everything that's listed and double check. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at, that's a D right there, that's a D. So it's kind of a triplicate check. And I'm also looking at the headers in between here to make sure that I'm not missing, you know, I didn't miss something. I know that there were some tabs or something that the find replace feature didn't get. So I'm also kind of looking for those. Alright, so that is all of that right there. I've got them all deleted. I may go back and verify them just to be sure. The next thing I want to show you is one of the many reasons that we did the styles over here is because if you look at the original, there's spaces, for instance, right here and here. Whenever you PDF this, it looks a lot different for some random reason. I don't know why, but there's a lot more spaces, a lot cleaner. All right. So what I want to do is I want to change that. I want to have some space in between here so it's easier to read. So in my styles, I'm going to modify that. And I told you earlier, you know, everything's supposed to be 0 across here. Well, okay, now we can kind of start changing that to be like what we want. Okay, so I want six points after this section right here, and I also want it underlined. Okay, so when I do that, it's going to change it for all of them. Okay, you see that right there as well. Alright, so what if I want the same thing for level 2? Okay, well, I don't want it underlined, but I do want 6 points in front of and after. Make things simple, and there we go. That's looking good. Alright, so I want 6 points after the 1.1, not 4, because I don't want it to add. So let's do that. Alright, and you can see that jump right there. I think I did that after and not before. Yeah, we'll just do it before, not both, or before and after. There we go. Alright. And that. Okay. So I don't want spaces in between. I do want a little extra space on those. Okay, here we go. Alright, now for my inner section, for instance, I actually want that to be in the middle. So I can do that here. And a lot of people will make it bold. We don't for here for some reason, but that's that, and it changed all of them. See, in the middle. So give it one last quick look, make sure that nothing is really bad. At this point, now that we've got everything formatted the way we like it and it's looking good, we can go through and find misspellings, and that's one of the things I really like about putting it in Word. So a lot of this stuff, Word's not going to know what it is. Like, you know, that's fine. Those are all fine. But that has been that's been floating around for quite a few years now. So I'm going to change that here, and the rest of them I know are fine. But this is a quick, easy way to make sure that all your specs are spelled correctly. And you can also do grammar, stuff that you can't do in AutoCAD. So once you get it all the way you want, like this, you're going to do a Control A, Control C, go back to AutoCAD, alright, and so there's a whole bunch of individual in text here that I don't want those there. So all I'm going to do is copy them, get them out of the way, delete the ones I don't want. So I'm back to this one. Alright, so Control A, delete, and then Control V, which is paste. While I'm still in here, I'm going to hit Control A, and change this to by layer. And that'll go back to the layer that it was on. Alright, and what that looks like is this. It's all nice and pretty formatted, evenly spaced. You can quickly see, if you spend more time in there, you'll quickly see things like that. On all the other ones, I've got spaces in between the two numbers, but I don't on that one for some reason. The other thing I could never figure out was why they keep having tabs here. I couldn't figure out how to fix that, so that's just kind of a manual. You got to do that one manually. But that's it in a nutshell. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free, if you got tips, throw them in the comments. I'd love to have additional help. Thank you.